Hey, futurist Jim Carroll from the virtual broadcast studio. I got a new camera, still working on the hair, but hey, it's all a work in progress. Look, it's Monday. Mondays are for motivation. I've started up this thing where I take a look back at the previous week at what I've been writing in my inspirational recap. And if you don't know what this is about, every single workday since August 2016, I have started my day at 5:30 in the morning, putting together some sort of inspirational, motivational, disruption, innovation-oriented future quote. Things that are going on with my clients or things I'm thinking about in terms of innovation, disruption, or just things happening at a personal level. You can find all of these over at inspiration.jimcarroll.com. Look, there's hundreds of these things. I actually turned a bunch of them into a book, Think Big, Start Small, Scale Fast, 2 years ago when the pandemic hit. And this is just how I start my day. And what I've started doing is each and every week, Mondays, let me get back to the right spot here. I'm just putting up a summary of what I covered the previous week. So you can visit them at inspiration.jimcarroll.com. They also go out on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, Substack, and there's an email list that you can sign up, no spam. So here's what I did last week. I started the previous Monday with the observation that, look, what you really need to do is you need to confront your future, not your past. And this is that I remind myself a little bit about, when it comes to what I need to do to continually evolve my business, but it also covers what I'm seeing within a bunch of industries and a bunch of clients when it comes to business model disruption. And I want to tell you a little bit of a story here. The energy industry, utility companies, crazy situations unfolding. Years ago, I flew down to San Francisco. The CEO of Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E, one of the largest energy utilities in the US, saw me, and he wanted to put out a video to his industry and to his team that, look, we can't deny where the future is taking us. So they brought me down to San Francisco. We spent a day with the film crew filming this little clip that was all around the idea of, could the energy industry be MP3'd? And what this was about was, look, what's going on with energy, with the utility, with production of energy. I've got solar on my roof here, and what happens when I become an energy producer and millions of people become an energy producer is we're all creating our own energy, whether with wind, with solar, with other stuff. I've got a Tesla in my driveway. It can become a battery that can store that energy. I become my own little energy grid. And when all kinds of people become their own little energy grid, we can present a real challenge to the traditional electrical utility that is out there. Well, what we're seeing is organizations battling back against the future. We're seeing this happen in California, where they're trying to put a fee on individuals to hook up their solar to the grid. It also happened in Nova Scotia, Canada, where the utility, Nova Scotia Power, was trying to charge people a fee to hook up your solar to feed energy into the grid. It's almost like what we saw in the Napster years, which is what this whole little film was about on my website. You can't fight the future. Look, the future of the utilities, the future of energy, we're all going to be producing our own energy, and energy companies, they really become insurance companies. So there's an entire blog post around that type of thinking. Day number 2 rolls around Tuesday. Focus on the idea, not the process. And this was based on a conversation I had with a potential client later the day on Monday. They were looking for, what's the secrets to innovation? We really need a map. We need a direction. We need a good structure to get us into innovation. And what I found is a lot of organizations, what they do when it comes to innovation is they say, well, we're going to form an innovation team. And they send these folks off to a special room where they study innovation. And what happens here is everybody else in the organization concludes that they don't have any responsibility for any innovative thinking because there's a special team that's doing innovation. And so what happens here is everybody just gives up on trying to do anything new. The innovation team, they goes off and, they do a study, they form a committee, they issue a report, and here's how we're going to innovate. What happens when an organization focuses on an innovation process like this is they get nowhere, they fail. It's a ridiculous thing. So if you are doing anything to accelerate your creativity, innovation, don't form an innovation team. It's guaranteed to give you failure. Wednesday rolls around. Your ability to change direction is what will ultimately define your direction. Well, what's the basis for this quote? We moved to a new city last summer, Guelph, Ontario, Canada. We're a little west of Toronto. And I got a forest in my backyard. And right after I do my daily inspirational quote every morning, I'm going out and I'm doing a 6.5 kilometer walk. It was 5.7. I actually did the route 100 times. And to mark the 101st time, I made up a new route, which is 6.7 kilometers. And so, I mean, I'm out there doing my morning walk. I'm thinking about what's going on in my life. I'm thinking about my business. I'm thinking about my clients. I'm thinking about everything. And I'm thinking about the fact that, just after doing 100 routes around one direction, I changed direction. Boom, there's a quote. So I typed that into my phone, and that ended up becoming my quote on Wednesday. But there's something more at work here. Your ability to change direction will really define your direction. I get a lot of clients looking for a map. They want an innovation map. How do we become masters at innovation? Way back in 2007, I came up with my innovation model. And what I said is you got to have a trends radar. You've got to have a really good insight into what is going to come next. And you've got to have a trends receiver. That's a corporate culture in which everybody is watching the radar. They're watching for the trends that are going to impact you. The trends transmitter will share that insight with everybody throughout the organization. That's what collaboration is all about. And you've got to have an innovation trap. That's the ability to capture those trends, capture those ideas, capture that collaborative thinking and turn it into something, which you do in your innovation factory. You launch it through your innovation runway, and you look back in the rear view mirror, how well did we go? And then you start doing the process all over again. That's what really is the process of defining, changing your direction is all about. So what I wrote into my quote that Wednesday last week was all about my trends and innovation model. Look, it's a good model. If you're really trying to think about how do we accelerate innovation in our organization, it's a good path to follow. Thursday rolls around. Don't know if I really like this quote. Old ideas based on what was yesterday's tomorrow won't get you to today's tomorrow. Huh? This actually started out as a quote like this. It's not your granddad's manufacturing anymore. And what I was writing about here was what I'm witnessing with my 28-year-old son. He's got a smart garden in his house. He's doing in-house irrigation to grow vegetables, which he will then plant outside. And he's getting a lot of stuff for his smart garden, these humidity sensors, which he's having 3D printed. And I find this absolutely fascinating because, look, just 10, 12 years ago, I was on stage at major manufacturing conferences in Las Vegas talking about 3D printing in manufacturing as being sort of this science fiction-like idea from the future. It's now real. It's everywhere. It's in aerospace. It's in automotive. It's in so many industries. 3D printing has become such a part of manufacturing that what I was trying to capture here is it's really not your granddad's manufacturing anymore. It's not even the manufacturing we were talking about just 10 years ago. So old ideas that you are trying to pursue today based on what was yesterday's tomorrow, 10 to 12 years ago, won't get you to today's tomorrow. See if I can get this straight anymore. This is why I'm not sure I quite like the quote, but if you take it apart and think about it, it does help you to think about the context of what is going on. Friday rolls around, and I come up with another one. Every single device that you now use is probably going to be in a museum 25 years or less, 20 years or less. And I wrote this around. I actually filmed a clip about this last week right after doing the post because I just had so much fun thinking about it. Look, my kids are 27 and 28. They're going to be 27 and 29. And when they were small, we had a whole bunch of things in the house that were things from the olden days. And this is what I spoke about in this video that I put up on my site last week. They would go around the house and they would, find little things that were, to me, part of my life, but to them were something from the olden days. And it started with a canister of 35 millimeter film. They asked, what's that? I said, it's film. I had to show them how it worked. I went and got my old 35 millimeter canister film. I spooled it inside. I said, stand there. I'm going to take a picture of you. I took a picture. What do you think they did? They ran around to the back of the camera right away. They wanted to see what was on the picture. I said, no, it doesn't work like that. Look, we got to take 23 more pictures. We're going to go to the candy store. We'll wait an hour to see the photos. That's really dumb, Daddy. And, they called it as something that Daddy had from the olden days. And I wrote a blog post that I reference in this video and that I reference in the website. Look at that. There's an old MP3 player from 1997. It could hold 4 songs. I mean, think about it. Who even carries around MP3 players anymore? I started holding up in this little video clip another MP3 player, my old laptop from 1982. The thing is, we've got all these technologies in our life today. We've got all these things in our businesses today. We've got all these assumptions about the future, which are really becoming things from the olden days. And I think we need to plan for that in the context of what is in our life today. There's my laptop from 1982. I got it out in the other room. So look, I'm having a tremendous amount of fun with these daily quotes. I'm having a tremendous amount of fun in my virtual studio. The one reason I'm doing this is as I go back to in-person events, I want to make sure that I keep my virtual chops up to speed. So I'm in here filming and putting content out there and having a huge amount of fun and putting in new cameras, which I'm using this week. Look at that, the hair still haven't got that quite right because the lighting isn't on. But it's all good. You can learn more about these quotes at inspiration.jimcarroll.com. I'd encourage you to sign up. Daily email. You can also get them on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Substack, and on my website. So would love you to participate and hope you enjoy. And we will see you next week as I report a little bit more about this week in inspiration, because Mondays are for motivation. That's it for now. From Futurist Jim Carroll from the Virtual Broadcast Studio.